everyone! My name is Monica and welcome to Comicat Creations, where I love to post step-by-step sewing tutorials as well as other sewing related videos. In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you how to make this halter top, which is really easy to make and so comfortable for summer. I really hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and if you do, please give the video a thumbs up, and I would really appreciate if you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already so you don't miss out on any more tutorials. And let's get sewing! To make this top, you'll need a little less than a yard of a stretchy knit fabric, and if you're not used to working with stretch fabric, this is a good project to start with because it's pretty easy. You'll also need the sewing supplies I've listed in the video's description, plus a fitted tank top to use as a template. Begin by deciding how long you want your new top to be. If you want it to be shorter than your tank top, fold the bottom edge up to the length you'd like. My tank top was a little too long, so I folded a couple inches up. If you wanted a crop top, fold it up more, or if you're happy with the length, leave it as it is. Then fold it in half right down the center, and this will be our guide for cutting out the halter top. Fold a portion of your fabric over a little wider than the tank top, making sure it stretches the most in the direction the arrows are going, so the halter top will stretch around you once it's done. Lay the tank top onto the fabric so the folds line up and pin it into place. Cut a ½ inch larger along the bottom edge and side of the tank top, which adds the room we need for hem and seam allowance. Then, instead of cutting a ½ inch larger around the armhole, you'll need to cut a curved line starting at the underarm and ending right at the edge of the shoulder. Now don't worry if your tank top is shaped a little different than mine because it isn't an exact science. Just cut a curve similar to this, and when we can try the top on, we can adjust the halter shape to get a perfect fit. Fold the top of the tank top out of the way and cut a straight line back to the folded edge of the fabric. Then remove the tank top and unfold your fabric, and you'll have a piece that looks similar to this for the front of the halter top. To make the shape we need for the back, simply fold the top halter portion down to create a straight line from one underarm to the other. Lay that folded piece onto your fabric, making sure both fabrics stretch this way, and pin it down. Cut around the shape, but be super careful not to cut into that top folded edge or you'll ruin the front halter top piece. And sorry my fabric is so choppy here, it was left over from another project and I used every bit I could. Remove that front piece and now you'll have the back of the halter top cut out, and both pieces should look like this. Lay them together with the correct sides of the fabrics facing together and pin and sew along the sides using a ½ inch seam allowance. Since we're using stretch fabric, use a ballpoint needle and sew all your seams and hems with either a stretch stitch or a zigzag stitch, which will allow the seams to stretch without breaking. Try the top on to make sure it fits well and make any adjustments if needed. The halter part of my top was a little too wide for my shoulders, so I trimmed it down a bit more, keeping in mind that it'll be about a ½ inch narrower on each side after we hem it. Make sure to keep the sides cut in a curve because it'll make hemming them a lot easier, which I'll show you how to do now. Turn the top inside out and starting at the top of one of the front sides, fold the raw edge of fabric over about a ½ inch. Then fold it over again another ½ inch so the raw edge is no longer visible and pin it down. Double fold the next section of fabric a ½ inch at a time and smooth it out with your finger so it lays neatly around the curves, then pin it down and continue this process down the side. Open up and lay the top so you can see part of the back now too, then flatten out the seam allowance. Continue hemming around to the back by double folding the fabric, smoothing it out, and pinning it into place, repeating this process all the way around the back of the halter top. When you get around to the opposite side, again flatten out the seam allowance and continue double folding and pinning the fabric up to the top edge. When it's all been pinned, sew to secure the hem by sewing down one side, continuing around the back and finishing up the other side, using a wider stretch or zigzag stitch to help the folded fabric lay neatly. Sometimes with stretch fabric, one stitch will sew the hems better than another, so test a few on a scrap hem of your fabric first. This decorative stitch worked great, but the zigzag stitch I used for my seams actually made the hems look wavy on this fabric, so it was good I tried them on a scrap first. Hem the bottom of your shirt the same way by double folding the fabric, pinning, and sewing, so now the bottom is neatly finished too. To tie the halter top around our neck, we have to make a casing or tube along the top edge that a strap will go through. To do this, turn your shirt inside out and fold the top edge down about a ½ inch, then fold it down again another 1.5 inches and pin it into place. Do this along the whole top of your halter top, then sew right along this bottom folded edge to secure the casing using the same stitch you used for your hems. To make the strap, cut a rectangle that measures 3 inches wide by at least 40 inches long, although if you want to tie it into a big bow on your neck rather than just a knot, cut it longer than that. Fold one side in half with correct sides together and trim the edge at an angle before pinning it together. Continue folding and pinning along the entire length, cutting the opposite edge at an angle too. Sew the edges together, but stop to leave about a 3-inch gap in the center to turn the strap right side out. Use something long and thin like the dull end of this paintbrush to push the ends through the tube to turn it right side out, then sew over the opening to close it up with the same stitch you used for your seams. Hook a safety pin on one end to feed the strap through the casing, then tie it around your neck and your halter top is complete. I love wearing mine with pants or shorts or tucked into my skater skirt on really hot days. Thanks for watching and happy sewing. Is there a bug on me? Definitely felt like it. Hey, still feels like there's a bug on my neck. Let's get sewing. I just bit my tongue while I was talking.